let's turn you around if I can figure it out. Turn around. You don't want to see my backyard, do you? All right. Hello. Is that okay? That's okay. I'm going to move you around anyways. So, good evening. Good evening. My name is Tasha. I'm your Simple Solutions Specialist. Cheers. And you're live from the Smoky Mountain Homestead. So tonight, we are all about the dairy. I love dairy. Anybody that knows me knows I love all things dairy, most specifically cheese. But, so we have a friend who has goats. Shula's going outside, but she's going to bark. We have some friends that have goats, and so we're able to get raw goat's milk from them, and it is heavenly. Darian prefers goat milk over cow milk anyway, so, yep, see, I told you to go bark. So we end up with a lot of milk around here, and I need to do other things with it. I don't make butter with it because before I get it, she's taken a lot of the cream off already to make butter for her family. So that means I don't get to make butter with it, but that's all right. So what I do, and I'm going to do tonight, I'm going to make some yogurt, and I'm also steaming some eggs. I'm looking at it. So I also wanted the eggs. So, remember I told you that I was having a hard time peeling those hard-boiled eggs? Well, I figured it out. So, what if you use eggs that are a little bit older, I figured out like a week old, and then I have them, you know what, let me get some ice really quick, because I'm going to need to plunge them into the ice. You know? Alright. That can wait. Oh, I didn't put the timer on either. How long has that been? Oh, it'll be, I can time it. They've been steaming for about, 8 minutes. And so I'm going to steam them for a total of about 23 minutes. And to that steam water, so remember last week I showed you the little steam basket that I have? I put that in this pan over here, and I'm sorry about that light in your eyeballs. I'm not quite sure what to do about that, but maybe move you this way. That's a little better. So anyways, I added like maybe a teaspoon of white vinegar to the steam water, and I just plop them in there. So one other thing I realized is that you can't even have the lid open just a teeny bit, because otherwise they're not gonna get all nice and firmy. So those guys are busy doing that, and you got to keep an eye on it because the water will evaporate a lot because I have it on high. So I keep checking it to make sure if I need to add more water, and I usually do add water once or twice during the process. So as long as it has all this good steam right there, I'm happy. So what I've got here in this pot, it's beautiful. Let's do this. I'm going to dump you in the pot. Look at that. Beauty, eh? Yes. It's that goat milk that I was telling you about. I have a half gallon of goat milk right here. So, so I've got the half gallon of goat milk, and I'm going to heat this up. So this is a thermometer that's made for like doing cheeses. And I'm sorry about that glare. That's really pissing me off, you know. For doing cheeses, because you need to be able to have the stem of it all the way down into the pot without touching the bottom. So that's why you need this clamp on the side right here too. I'll show you the little clampy clamp. Clampy clamp. See, it's like a little grabby thing. So that is that. So I'm waiting for it to come up to 185, and you want to do it fairly slowly. I have it on high to begin with, but I am going to turn it down as soon as I see the temperature start rising, because you don't want to scorch your milk on the bottom, because then your yogurt will taste really bizarre. Any kind of milk or any kind of cheese you make or anything, you want to raise the temperature slowly. I took this out earlier, so it might come to room temperature by itself, which is fine. You can totally do that. because it's by the time it's room temperature, it's not like gonna go spoiled or anything like that. So hi, Joy. How are you? Yay. So that's what I have in here is a half gallon of fresh raw goat milk, and I have yeah, so we're waiting for that to come up to temperature. Right now it's at 60, so it'll take a little bit. But I do need to keep an eye on these eggs because I don't want them to, because if the water runs out, the eggs will taste scorched, and that's pretty nasty. Oh, there's plenty of water in there. Cool. All right, so while we're waiting for that, I'm going to come over here, bring you back over here, mostly because I want to be closer to my wine. Joy knows that about me for sure. One of the things that I wanted to talk about, I'm going to put that there, so I should probably lift you up. Okay. So one of the things I want to talk about is what you carry every day with you. In like the prepper world, they call it an EDC, everyday carry. So anything that you might need, like my purse weighs a ton. Hey, Michelle. So my purse weighs a crap ton, but it's because I try to carry everything in there that I might possibly need. So anything from like a pocket knife and a flashlight and matches, and I have a fire starter in there, and you could put pepper spray in there, or if you live somewhere where there's bears, you could put bear spray in there. Anything like that. Darian's got these pants, you know, the like camping pants that like zip off into shorts, and it has all the pockets. Well, when he goes out and he's wearing those, all of his pockets are full of like all kinds of crazy stuff. Like if we got trapped in the middle of wherever, shush, that he could totally survive out of his pockets for probably a week. It's crazy all the stuff that he carries in there. There she goes barking again. So that's one of the really important things just to have with you, because you don't know when, you know, your car might get stuck on the side of the road and you need to figure something out. I'm yelling hi like you can hear me. Hello! So let me check. Oh, that's really steaming. Let me check the temperature really quick on this milk. We're almost up to 90 already. Cool. So yeah, and then one of the other things is I downloaded a app on my phone. It's the American Red Cross Pocket First Aid and CPR app. And it's really cool. Like you can go through there and it explains what these different emergencies could be. And then it like quizzes you to see if you know what you're doing, and it gives you a listing of the nearest hospitals. It's really, really cool, and it's a good app just to have on your phone. So that I highly, highly recommend. And it's free. I mean, you know how I love free stuff, so we should probably turn the heat down on this milk, because the last thing we want it to do is scorch. Nobody wants scorched yogurt. So I'm going to turn it down to about 7.5. We have an electric stove, which I hate. It's super stupid. But it's what I've got, so I make it work. And then you can also stir. I hesitate to stir the bottom because, ooh, there's a thingy. Not that the guys would freaking notice, right? They would probably just eat it anyways. I don't want to stir it too much because it disrupts the kind of the heating process. But I want to stir it a little bit just so that the bottom doesn't scorch. I tend to do that sometimes when I make soups, you know, with milk in them and cream and all that. So this is just as easy, like making sour cream is the exact same thing as doing this. Tonight I'm going to use, so if you already have homemade yogurt at home, you would use your starter, a little bit of your homemade yogurt. So my next batch will be, because my other batch they ate and I didn't get to save any, so so you take a little bit of that and use that as your starter for your next batch. But I do have this wee French style yogurt, and it comes in this nice little glass jar, and I actually really like these glass jars because when I make pudding, I can put the pudding in these, and it forces them to have just this much instead of eating the whole bowl, because I make it from scratch, and so it's always in this bowl. And then they're like, oh, I'm going to have some pudding. Some pudding, they're eating like 3 cups of pudding. Like, that's not some pudding. That's like all of the pudding. So let's check this temperature. So we are at 110 right now. We're looking for 185. And this is like the super easiest thing you can possibly, like, yogurt's like really, really easy. So what I will do with this is I'm going to add, so this is half a gallon of milk, and you want to use whole milk. You don't want to use skim milk or anything. I mean, you can if that's your like food preference, but I don't like the way it turns out. I like, you know, the yogurt to be really creamy and everything, and without all that fat, you just get like, it's nasty. I think it's nasty. And to a half a gallon of milk, you need 4 ounces or a half a cup of yogurt. This is 5 ounces, so I'm just going to use most of it, and then the rest of it I'll give to the chickens because they love yogurt. They'll think they clucked and gone to heaven. Let's check these huevos. Yeah, we still got, oh, one of them busted open. I think there was one that had like a little crack a little bit in the shell, and I think that's probably the one. But that's all right. They don't care. You know what I do? I just put them in the refrigerator, and really, so there are 8 eggs in here, and probably by, what's today? Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, those will all be gone. And because we're starting to get a lot of eggs, we got 15 today. So I need to figure out something to do with all these eggs. And I still need to order that hydrated lime so I can do the water glassing. And when I get that, I will show you how to do it, because that is easy peasy. So let's see, we're getting there. So one of the things on my wish list is a cheese press. Because right now the only capabilities I have is to make soft cheeses, because you need a cheese press to be able to make the hard cheeses, but they're not cheap. So I have to like pick and choose what I spend my money on. But once I get that cheese press, well, and the thing is, once you start doing hard cheeses, you need a cheese cave, because, so a cheese cave is basically just a refrigerator or a cave that can be kept at a certain temperature, and that allows for the curing of the cheese. So, and wine refrigerators are perfect for that, because you can adjust the temperature on those. And they have the, what are they? The shelves that go like that hold the bottles of wine, but you could take those out and just replace them with some wooden slats nailed together or something, because you want the airflow in there to make it be able to cure properly. This is so pretty. So I used to make, before we had a friend that had goats, I used to always make my yogurt with cow's milk, and the guys loved it. But since I started making it with goat milk, they don't even want to go back. Like one time we ran out of yogurt, so I just bought some. And they're like, oh, this isn't as good as the one with the goat cheese or goat milk. I'm like, oh, sorry. And you know how hard it is to find goat milk yogurt at the grocery store? Unless you go to, I have seen it at Whole Foods. But since I don't live anywhere near a Whole Foods, I'm not driving all the way the heck into Asheville just to get yogurt. That is not happening, sister. There's not. So we're at like 120 and some change. These guys. Woo, those are going to be good. Yeah, so what I noticed is you can't have even a slight bit of the lid coming off of this. Otherwise, they won't steam right. You have to have the whole lid down on there. Because first batch I did, I thought, oh, I'll load it up. I put 12 in there, and the lid was only off like a teeny tiny bit, not even maybe a quarter of an inch, and it took longer for them to steam. So I did notice that. So this will sit, once I take this off of here, we're going to let it cool down just a little bit, just so it's not like super hot, because I'm going to add the culture into it, which is the yogurt that we have here. But that has live cultures in it. And if you put it in while the milk is too hot, it'll kill your cultures. And the purpose of, well, not one of the purposes of eating yogurt is that it has all those good cultures and bacteria for your gut. And why do if you're going to just kill them off? And that's one of the reasons why I don't like to buy commercial yogurt, because they don't wait for it to cool down all the way. And so if you do buy it from the store, just make sure it says with live cultures. Otherwise, you're basically just having some cooked milk with some flavoring, you know. I mean, and if that's what you like, I mean, more power to you. I'm all about things that taste good. But I figure if I'm going to eat it, I might as well be getting healthy at the same time. You want to make sure that thing stays all the way down in there, too. Make sure you get a proper temperature on it. I'm trying not to, I'm tempted to like turn up the heat, but I don't want to scorch my milk. So once I add the yogurt, I'll let that get all stirred in. You stir it in, and you want to do it, you want to make sure, because the yogurt will kind of melt into the milk. And then once that is done, I'm going to pour it into this half-gallon mason jar and put the lid on it, and then I'm going to wrap it in a towel, like a big rag bath towel thing, and set it on the counter overnight for like 12 hours. And in the morning when you wake up, you got yogurt. So what I'm going to do with that is I'll take half of it and add a little bit of honey and vanilla to it, because the guys like vanilla. And then the other half I'm going to put in a cheesecloth, tie that up, and then tie that like to a spoon, like right here, over like a pan or something. It's suspended, so it's not touching the bottom. And let that drain for, I usually do it for 24 hours, but you could do it anywhere from 6 to 12, depending on the consistency you want. And then when you take it out, you have yogurt cheese. And then you can add all kinds of herbs and things to that. So I'll get out of this half gallon, I usually do a gallon at a time, but the guys wanted me to leave some of the milk in there for them to drink. So I'm only doing a half gallon. And then, so out of this half gallon of milk, I will get 4 cups of yogurt, which they'll go through in a hot second. And this is getting kind of foamy. I'm going to turn it down. And I'll get probably about 3 cups maybe of yogurt cheese. So it's goat yogurt cheese, not like buffalo. Yeah, like it's not gonna be like regular goat cheese where it's kind of crumbly. Well, it could be depending on how long you let the whey drain out. And then I save the whey and I give it to the chickens because they love it, and it's really, really good for them. This is really getting foamy. I gotta turn it down, because if it's getting foamy, that's telling you that it might be starting to scorch on the bottom, and that is not good. I need to check this water for these eggs too. So we're at like 145, I think. Ugh, 140. All right. So I have to add some. These are probably just about done, I think. What time did I put them in there? I put them in there at 10 till, and it's 17 after. Yeah, those are done. So I don't really like super pay attention to the time, and I know I should, but sometimes I don't. It happens. So take these off of here. And then, add some water. And then I just stick them in the ice water. Because if you don't, they'll continue cooking. Look at that one busted open. That's all right. This is the only way I found to get fresh eggs to, peel decently. And they come out so pretty. They look like a picture. I love it. All right, so there's that. That's dude. Ooh, this is really getting excited over here. We're at 150. This one thing I have noticed about the goat milk is that it gets a lot more foamy than cow milk does, but I've only ever used, with cow milk, I've never been able to get my hands on raw milk, so it might be one of the attributes of working with raw milk. Because I was using, when I was using cow milk, I was getting the, what is it, the grass-fed, something, the good stuff, grass-fed, organic, happy cow milk, whatever it was. And I mean, it would foam up a little bit, but not like the goat milk does. The goat milk tends to foam up a lot more, but this is raw, so that might be part of why it's foaming up. Oh, come on now. I keep having to turn the heat down. I can't imagine that it's not at 185. Let me go get my other thermometer. I have this one that I use for meat. You can stick that in there and check. Just don't want to touch the bottom of the pan. Oh, see, this one says it's higher. We're at like ouch. Damn, that's hot. 160. See, that makes more sense. Because I'm like, it doesn't usually take that long. Whoops. Knocking things about. I might have it too far to the top of the milk. Let me take it out. That's hot. Ooh, that's hot. Let's see. Yeah, it's going up. I probably had it too far to the top side of the milk. So that makes more sense. We're at like, 155, almost 160. So it does take a little while. A little while. What else is going on? Let's see. What else is going on? Oh, Alan said that it's probably going to be another couple days before he can paint that bench that he's building because of the weather. It's too cold and he can't prime it. So I was hoping to be able to show it to you guys because we thought maybe he'd be able to finish sanding it and prime it and get it painted before tonight. But it's just been too wet and too rainy, and he kept finding holes in the wood because it was salvaged wood. So yeah, eventually you're like, okay. And then he was down there the other night and he was messing with it and he kept finding more holes and more, which means he has to fill up all the holes and then sand, wait for it to dry and then sand it. So, but he has found all the holes and now he's just waiting to primer it and get that done. Once the primer is done, then he can actually bring it upstairs and we can paint it up here. It's just that the basement is cold, cold, cold down there, and so I don't know how he hangs out down there. It is so cold. Let me check with this one. Other hand. Woo! I don't want this to go in there. Let's see. I'm really bummed because the guy that we get our goat milk from is moving to Tennessee. He's taking his goats with him. I'm like, I am so bummed. I'm going to have to find another source of goat milk. Let's see. I think we are just about there. Maybe just a couple more minutes. Oh, no, that's good. That's good. So there's that. Let's get that off the heat. So, my other... I need to get some more milk from them so I can make some goat cheese too. Anything goat doesn't last around here for long. So now I need to let this cool for about 5-10 minutes maybe. I need it to be between 115 and, in fact I should put it on a trivet, that'll help. 115 and 105. Because like I said, we don't want to put the yogurt in there and kill our cultures. We'd be murderers. That would not be good. And I'm not going to even measure how much to put in there. You know what? This is 5 ounces and you need 4, so eyeball it. I don't like the dirty stuff if I don't have to. So I think I'm going to use this one. Seems to be more accurate. And then to speed up the cooling down, you can do this bit. It is a little bit of a process, but it's really not that hard, you know? I mean, Heat up milk, add yogurt, put it in the jar, wrap it up, and let it sit overnight. There's other ways to do it too. Like you could, I know I used to do it where you take like a Corningware kind of dish with a glass lid, and I would turn the stove on to like as low as it would go, like on warm, and then with the light on, I'd leave the light on, and then turn the heat off, and then leave it like this, just ajar overnight, and stick that in there, and it does the same thing. So basically what you're wanting to do is incubate it. You could put, you could do smaller jars, like little pint-sized jars, and then put them all in a thermos, not a thermos, but a cooler thing. And then, hey Jen, or people have like actual yogurt incubators, which I'm like, I'm not a big fan of appliances that only do one thing. In fact, I'm not a big fan of having a lot of appliances anyways, because I don't want to become dependent on them. So I could actually do this over a fire if I needed to, and it wouldn't be, I mean, it would be more challenging, absolutely, but it certainly wouldn't be as big of a deal. You know, if I was like, the only way I knew how to make yogurt was with an incubator, you know? Let's see what we got here. So we're looking for between 115 and 105. That's when it'll be safe to put our cultures in. And you can actually buy yogurt culture from, I think it's called Cultures for Life. They've got all kinds of cultures that you can get. This is like still hot. You can get stuff to make sour cream, but again, if you're going to make sour cream, just use your sour cream as your culture, and then do it that way, you know. And then like what else do you they have goat cheese cultures. They've got all kinds of stuff. They have more than just cultures, but they're one of my go-to places. When we lived in San Diego, there's a place there, I don't know if it's still there or not, but it's called Curds and Wine, and they had everything there to make like wine and cheese, and oh my gosh, it was the best store ever. I spent a lot of time there, so it was pretty awesome. So we're just waiting for this to cool off. It takes a few minutes. Those eggs will probably be, I put them in the ice water, so those are probably going to be ready to peel in just not too long. So this is a meat thermometer, so it's not gonna, see, we're already down to like 120, 130, so we're getting there. But it only goes, the lowest it goes to is 120 because it's a meat thermometer, so that's why I use this one. This one goes all the way to 0, which is much better, more accurate, especially when you're making cheeses, because you need to be, like when I make sour cream, you got to heat it up to, I think it's like 85 degrees or something like barely heat it up. So yeah, that's coming along. So I need to move that jar, and that one doesn't go down that far. So it's just another excuse to have another tool, right? That's just water. So these, are these cool enough? No, those aren't cool enough. I try to wait till they're like super, super cold, the eggs, because they just peel right off. I'll bring it over here and you guys are just, I mean, it looks like a picture. It's so pretty. In fact, I showed them to Alan and he was like, oh my gosh, that looks like a picture. Which is, you know, you want to, I mean, like I was, the first time I boiled the eggs, I was wanting to make them for, I was going to make, what was I going to make? I was going to make deviled eggs. And you know they're deviled eggs, so you want them to be pretty, right? And they were, or no. I was making pickled eggs. And they looked like they had acne scars all over them. It was the worst. They were so bad. I mean, of course they ate them anyways, but it was bad. And I'm like, I need to perfect this. So I kind of played around with it. But last time when I did it, I was like, I nailed it. I was so excited. Where's my spoon? This should be getting there. Come on, milk. Oh, upside down. Ooh, we're getting close. You got to make sure that you're holding your thermometer like, oh my God, in the middle of the milk. And if you get down too far to the bottom, it'll register a lot hotter. So you could want to kind of stay in the middle. And stirring it a lot helps it cool down faster too. So those eggs are probably ready. Yeah, I'll bring these over. So I'm just going to put the shells into the compost. You got to watch this. This is so cool. Love it. That's our little compost bucket over there. Sometimes when we get too many eggs and I'm not quite sure what to do with them, I'll take a bunch of them, like a dozen of them, and scramble them up, and then we just give them back to the chickens. Because they like them, and it's good for them, so I let them. So I'm going to see if you can see me here. Let me point you down a little bit. Okay. I think you can see it. Okay. I'm so stoked about this, you guys. I don't think, even when I had not fresh eggs and I was hard boiling them, I don't think they ever came out this pretty. They were just, oh, that was my fault. I chunked up that one a little bit because I poked it with my fingernail. See, they just come like right off. It was so bad. They were just, I could not get these freaking shells off to save my life. And then the top just comes right off. And it's a perfect little egg. And then you put it in the bowl and you're like, look at my perfect little eggs. I love it. This one broke open. Give that bit to the chickens. They'll like that. It's nice having chickens because they'll just eat whatever you don't, even like really like leftovers in the refrigerator that are like nobody's going to eat. Give them to the chickens. You know what they love is freaking baked ziti. This one is messed up because it was broken in the shell. They'll eat baked ziti. They've had meatloaf. They've had, oh gosh, I don't know. They love beans. When I make a pot of beans, because Darian loves beans. So I try to make sure there's always a bowl of some kind of beans in the refrigerator for him. And the protein for them is really, really good, especially during the winter because, so in the fall they molt, and then when they're growing their feathers back, that's why one of the reasons why they're not laying very well is because they're using all of their energy to grow new feathers to stay warm over the winter. Look at that pretty egg. Instead of laying eggs. So, but if you give them more protein, they don't need to use as much of their energy to stay warm because they've got more protein in their diet. Yeah, and it took me a while to figure that out. I have done so much reading about freaking chickens. Jeez Louise. Let's see where we are. This should be coming up on just about right. Oh my God, that dog, you guys. I want to just cook her sometimes. This is taking forever. And I would I'm an impatient cook, so I would probably like put cold water in the sink and like set this in the sink to get it to cool faster, but I don't want to be a bad influence, you know? That would be bad. Heaven forbid I'd be a bad influence, huh? Let me see. Yeah, we got 15 eggs today, so I got to figure out what to do with all these dang eggs. Plus we've got like 4 or 5, oh, that one's 4, I think I cooked them too long. 4 or 5 dozen in the pantry. So I got to figure out what to do with all these eggs. See, now I made myself a liar. They're not coming out nearly as pretty as my last batch did. I think it's because I wasn't paying attention and I didn't set the timer and I overcooked them. So that's my fault. But whatever. They're fine. The guys don't care, really. They're like, I'll eat whatever. It's nice not to have picky people in the house. Darian's never been picky, like ever. My mom said when I was little, I was so picky. She said it was just very difficult to feed me because I wouldn't eat anything except like grilled cheese and macaroni and cheese and more cheese and more cheese. All right, what time is it? Oh, we're running late. I'm sorry, you guys, we're running late. I want to finish this, though. Aha! I think we are in business. All right, so I'm going to add the yogurt. You're far away. I'm sorry. Let me see if I can move you closer. I really need to get a better thingamabobber, but whatever. Okay. So I'm going to add most of this. So half a gallon of milk to half a gallon of milk to 4 ounces of yogurt, which is half a cup. So I just stick it in here. That's about right. I mean, this isn't an exact science, which is good because I would totally screw it up if it were. Put a little more. All right. So then I just let this get all melty-badelty in there. It doesn't take long because it's pretty warm. And the yogurt melts pretty quickly in there. I smush it up against the side of the pan because, like I said, I'm an impatient cook. The only time I'm a really patient cook is when I'm making gumbo, because you gotta wait forever to make that roux, and the last thing you want to do is screw that up and make it all nasty. So I'm going to pour this in here. I'm probably going to have a little bit left over, which is fine. But I'll pour that in there, wrap it up in a towel, like a bath size, because I want to keep it warm. The idea is to keep it at about 110 degrees consistently for 6 to 12 hours, depending on how thick you like your yogurt. The guys like theirs thick, so. And I usually do this at night so that I can leave it sit overnight. Because otherwise, if I like do odd timing, I have to set the alarm and get up at like 3 a.m. to put the yogurt in the refrigerator. I'm not gonna do that. So after it's done, that's all you do is just put your container in the refrigerator, and there's your yogurt. Unless you're gonna like, you can sweeten it with honey or simple syrup or whatever your choice of sweetness thingy is. And then the guys like vanilla, so I usually add some good vanilla to it. And then, or you can add fruit to it, or even like you can add like a strawberry jam or something, and then you have strawberry yogurt. Darian doesn't like whole pieces of fruit in his yogurt, so I don't add that. I go ahead and let him do that. And their favorite is vanilla anyway, so it's like, and that's a no-brainer, so we might as well just do that. Once in a great while, they might ask me for something else, but they're usually pretty happy just to have yogurt. All right, so this goes in here. I'm a little short on both ends, but whatever. There are a few little chunks of yogurt in here, but it doesn't really matter because guess what? We're making yogurt. It's not like they're going to take a bite out of it and go, oh my God, is that yogurt? Why is there a yogurt chunk in my yogurt? All right. So there's that. And then I go like that. And then I'm going to wrap this up. Let's go over here. I'll show you how I do this. Besides my wine's over here, right? So this is just a rag we've had forever and ever. And I do it like don't want the bottom to be not covered too. So I go like that. And I kind of like just jelly roll it with the towel. I start like that. It's not exact, you know, the idea is just to keep it warm. Like that. Pick it up like a mummy. Like that. And then I usually have to lean it up against something so that it doesn't fall over. prop it up against books or something like that. There, that's it. The mummy. The yogurt mummy. There you go. And tomorrow morning, that will be yogurt. Easy peasy. I'll let it sit there. Me a bad influence? Never. When do you put in the vanilla and honey? Tomorrow morning when it's yogurt, I will add the honey and the vanilla. After because like I said, I'm going to use half of it for yogurt and the other half for yogurt cheese. So I'll separate it, and then the part that's going to be the yogurt, I'll add the honey and the vanilla to it, and then stick it in another jar. I have the quart-size jars. That's a half-gallon size. I'll put that in, and I have to clearly label it because they'll think it's like milk gone bad or something, which it kind of is, isn't it? And then the other half I'll make into cheese. So, okay, I think that's it. I'm sorry I kept you long. I didn't mean to, but that milk was being a pain in the patootie, wasn't it? All right, sorry about that. Let's see what else. So if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to hit the like button, the little thumbie uppy, and hit the subscribe button. Or you can find me all over the place. I'm on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I have Smoky Mountain Homestead Facebook page. I'm on LinkedIn. I'm all over the place. So I will put all the links where you can find me in the description of this video on YouTube. You can find me there, or you can email me, or you can call me, or you can come to my house, whatever. If you all know how to find me. If you don't know how to find me, that's a problem because I'm everywhere. All right, so that is it for tonight. So that's it. Peace out. Be the change. Thanks for coming.